Hello. Man, nobody does video? I'm not going to be able to see your faces? Come on. Come on. I'm even standing up for you.
How are you?
I'm good.
Oh,
It's a Monday. How's it? Oh, there we go.
hello.
How do you say your name? Dado?
Yes.
Thanks for letting me see your face. I see you, Marlene. I'm gonna hold you to that. How's everybody's Monday going?
Good, good.
Just my Susan. Susan's ready.
All right. I suspect we're going to have more continuing to chime in here and join us, but we'll give it a couple more minutes and then I'll get the recording started, Christina.
Yep, no problem. I'm going to pull up a couple of things just in case we decide to share screens at all. I'll be ready. Tim Davis and Mr. Brad McBee. Haven't talked to you in a while. I haven't talked to anybody in a while. That's terrible.
So Christina, earlier today, I had somebody who called me up and they said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and get the recording started. And then I'm going to bring up the questions so that we, I don't want to, because Marlene just asked a question that was similar to one that I was asked earlier today. So I'm going to get the recording started. We're going to get going.
All right. And Marlene, just to address your concern, because I think that you were the one that also had mentioned that on the app. I will, like the mail houses that we work with are actually, their primary businesses have nothing to do, frankly, with real estate. They service real estate investors, and because of the volume of business, we're working with some of these bigger guys just because of the sheer volume of mail that we represent. But their primary businesses are not real estate related. So I've been able to have some really interesting conversations, literally with the owner of one of these businesses, a couple of the businesses, just in terms of like how marketing is doing overall, just not just real estate, but what has been the impact to marketing overall? Like, are people still marketing? What are they marketing? How are they doing? That kind of thing. Is it up, down, whatever?
So that was exactly one of the questions that somebody asked me earlier. They said, hey, I'm not, I'm interested, but not for real estate. And I said, you got to join us on the call because what we're going to share here today is pretty exciting. So let me go ahead and get everything kicked off. First of all, everybody, welcome. We are grateful that you're able to join us here. We put this call together very quickly, but when I was speaking with Christina the other day, I got pretty excited to find out something we had been talking about some months ago has sort of come to fruition. And I wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to share it with the whole community. And so to just give you all a little bit of background, for years now, Christina has been somebody who has been helping people with their marketing, and she has been doing an awesome job with it. But if you know anything about what she has done, she has basically created a done for you service where real estate investors who are too lazy or inconsistent or whatever it might be, they just see the value in having somebody who really knows what they're doing to come alongside of them and actually do their marketing for them. Christina has been doing that. Now, one of the value plays that she has been bringing to that equation is that she analyzes all of their data as well. She keeps up with everything that they're doing. She tracks their leads. She tracks everything, how well are they following through? How many deals are they getting? And she's been tracking all of that. And so with all of that data, they have been able to refine the marketing more and more, niche it down, refine it, doing all different things. And they track every single thing that they do. Now, with that in mind, much of this has been a very high-end marketing service, and it hasn't been something that most investors can take advantage of. This is really reserved for maybe the top 5% of all the investors, the service that she has been providing, because it's not cheap. They spend a lot of money with her. And one of the things that she wanted to do was create a hub, let's say a marketing hub, that would be available to all investors, where you could get the same resources that she actually uses for all of the higher end investors who are spending $10,000 or more a month with her. And so when we had the discussion about it, she was going to put together this marketing hub, and basically it was going to be a one-stop shop. So you didn't have to go to all of these different places to get your lists, to do your mailings, to send postcards, to send letters. Instead, everything was going to be underneath one umbrella. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but when I hear something like that, I get pretty excited about it. And so when Christina talked about getting this done, I was really excited to hear it, because I wanted to be able to share it with the community as a whole, and to be able to say, hey, listen, the same thing that all these other investors are getting the benefit from, you all can get the benefit of that today. And but I'm going to begin to just start turning some of this over to Christina. But this was the reason I was so excited to hear that this was finally done. Now, those of you who are smaller, who don't have that $10,000 a month budget, you now have something that is available to you that can be very effective. And I'm going to sort of turn it over a little bit to Christina. But Christina, can you just take some time? First of all, welcome. Thank you for joining us and for doing this here with us. As you know, I'm excited to have the community hear what it is that you have put together. Can you tell us a little bit about the background of Postal Impact, maybe something I might have missed there with my intro, and how this all came together?
Sure. So the first thing is, I just want to say that I appreciate so much. I've been a part of the Life and Air community since it started. And I appreciate this community so much. I've worked with a lot of you, so you guys, we've had conversations. I'm friends with a lot of you guys. But Steve has been my business mentor for it's got to be over 10 years now then at this point, right?
10, 12, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, and I love just having watched the journey of all of this, and how it has grown from a group of 10 of us sitting around a table talking about whether or not the name Life and Air resonated and what it meant and all of those things, to seeing what it is today, and how many investors' lives have been changed, not just from a business standpoint, but from a personal standpoint. And that's huge for me, guys, because everything that we do has that undercurrent of, I want something to be created that gives you the freedom to work within your unique genius zone as much as possible, instead of you guys having to constantly hustle and do all of the things in business. So there's, something that each one of you know that you're really, really good at in the business and that you enjoy doing. I call it your genius zone, but whatever it is that gives you the highest value for your time. And as a company, we are really committed to making sure that investors focus on that, particularly during these moments when all of our emotions are kind of pulled all over the place. So the first thing that I want to do is just to let you know, for those of you who don't know, Postal Impact is the company that most people relate us to and know us for. So Postal Impact, although we are a completely done-for-you direct mail marketing company, what we really are is we are a data and analytics company. All right, so what we do is we use data and analytics to pull lists for our clients. It is multiple verticals, guys. It is mostly real estate, but we service people in the pharmaceutical industry, in the stock, finding high net worth clients for stockbrokers. There's multiple verticals that we work within, because once you know data and you know how to, target in real estate, it's a motivated seller, or target your avatar, target the client that you're targeting. You can use data for any of those things, right? So what most people know us as is a company that pulls lists, motivated seller lists for real estate investors, and then handles the marketing side for them. And we actually process the mail. And I'm almost up to 60 people who physically handwrite addresses on envelopes for our clients to, and then we test letters versus postcards and what's more effective. And is there an avatar for somebody who will open a letter versus a postcard? I mean, we get into the weeds on everything. We look at the KPIs on absolutely everything. The point of that just being that once you have enough data, okay, and we represent millions of pieces of mail for our clients, and once you study enough data and you compress enough data down into one line, it's very, very simple now. There's only so many standard deviations that you can, deviate from that norm. Once you see a spike up or down one way or the other, you've got something in the process that needs to be fixed, right? So one of the things that we do is we're not just looking at response rate and net lead rate. We're following and tracking data all the way through sales pipelines so that we can see who are you converting and how successfully are you converting, and what does it take for you to get an appointment with somebody, and what does that person look like? Because at the end of the day, none of us want to continue to market and market and market in high volume just for the sake of doing it. What we really want to do is say, what's the 20 to 30% of my list where 70 to 80% of my yield is coming from, and how do I just target those people? So our passion, frankly, is to make sure that you scale to be better before you scale to be bigger. To us, it's not about volume and having as big of a company as possible. It's about saying, how do I elegantly target the highest value clients, focus all of my attention on them so that now I can live life. I'm not constantly chasing my tail, looking at absolutely everybody as a potential client. How do I identify who my potential client is? So for many, many years, that was really the only model that we ever executed for our clients. We would go in with clients, we would send 25,000 pieces of mail per county, we would study the people who were responding, we would track data, we would get all of this. And what we ultimately determined is that we can identify patterns that even if you are a person who spends $500 a month, or you're somebody who spends $500,000 a month, and we have clients who do that, your pain points are still all the same. Those guys aren't any bigger, better than, they're bigger, but they're no different than you are. Any one of you could run that company. If you're running your own company successfully, any one of you can run the bigger company. And frankly, I can prove to you by the data that smaller operators, companies who have 2 to 3 people within them, dollar for dollar, are more profitable than really, really big companies, because you guys can pivot and shift far more quickly than a big, huge ship can, right? But what we've determined, because what I've done for the past several years is traveled relentlessly, because most of the time, just because I have those kinds of stats and data, people want me to talk about it. They want to say, what's working in marketing? What's the lead that's working best? What should the postcard look? Should it be a postcard or a letter? And I would go and talk knowing full well that these aren't my clients. When I go and speak, I'm not necessarily going to get clients. I'm just going to add value to people, because what we talk about is valuable, because we're talking about data and we're talking about numbers. And for us, it got really frustrating because we knew that we could offer something to everyone. And that was what we created the Postal Impact Marketing Hub to be. That hub, once we identified the fact that most people get upended with their marketing just solely based on a lack of consistency and being methodical about it. It's that simple. And the truth is, nothing that we do, even though we're studying data, I'll tell you how to do it. That's not a question. We're not trying to have this secret sauce. I speak about it. I tell people how to do it themselves, and anyone can do it. But I think the real value for us as entrepreneurs lies in us understanding that we're not stupid. We can do it. But the truth is, we're not going to do it because that's not who we are. It's not what we were designed to be, right? We were designed to go out there and create and build and innovate, and getting ourselves in the weeds of marketing and having to go to 7 different sites to get this specialty lead and that specialty lead. And now you got to get a postcard, and now you got to mail a letter. And what do? I'm telling you, if you put that in my hands, and I've been an active investor since 1999, until I started a company where I surrounded myself with people who did it and made sure that it happened consistently and methodically. I didn't do it. I knew I should have done it, but I didn't do it either. And the truth is, some of us are really good at that and some of us aren't. And massively successful business owners recognize what they're not going to do consistently and methodically. And as much as possible, they put things into place that holds them accountable to that process. So the marketing hub, honestly, was created because we thought, we have all of this knowledge, we have all of this information, we can download that into anyone who uses the marketing hub. We can download data, we can tell you what's working, we can tell you what the upticks are and what the trends are, and we can make one simple place for you to come to send your letters and to send your postcards and to pull your lists and to skip trace your lists. Whatever it is that you need to do, all of that can kind of be done from one convenient location.
So if I can, Christina, let me just say, you sort of run the risk potentially by losing some of your higher end clients who pay you for the full done for you service, because you have now taken all the services that you provide for them that were difficult to get to because you had to go here to get this and here to get that and hire this person to do this. And you now brought it all into one place. But you're not worried about that. At the end of the day, you're not worried about that, and they know the service that you're getting. But the point that I wanted to make was you just made it easy for people who don't like to market because it's hard to get to everything. Yeah. And so there's been a term that you have used a lot throughout the years. You call it the easy button. Mm-hmm. Can you, how did that factor into this as you were thinking?
What we found is that people need you to make processes very simple for them. I'll give you a great example of that. Another company that we own is called Virtual Lead Managers. So I proved to our clients, I said, guys, we did a 3-year study of data, and we figured out that of people, this is across any vertical, guys, this is not just real estate, 60 to 70% of your deals are going to come in follow-up, whether you're in real estate or anything else. Most people close sales in follow-up. The majority of your sales generally come in follow-up, okay? And I don't think most people dispute that fact. We can prove it to you with data. We took hundreds of thousands of points of data and proved it to our clients that of the clients who had any kind of follow-up system in place, 74% of their deals came in follow-up, 30 or more days after the first point of contact with the seller, okay? Of those who didn't do follow-up, only 8% of their deals came in follow-up, which is insane. And we handed this data back to our clients, and it still didn't matter because they didn't see the follow-up activity, constantly following up on somebody who has said no for some reason. They didn't see it as a valuable activity, so we made it an easy button. Because what we are recognizing is that on every level, from a beginner to a massively experienced investor, it's not a matter of, can this be done? Can you do it? It's a matter of how easy can we make it for you to get it done, especially if it's not an activity that falls in your genius zone. So same thing with the marketing hub. We're not doing it for you. It's not a completely done for you service. We will always have postal impact, and there will always be clients who literally want us to do absolutely everything for them. But I also talked to people constantly when I was traveling that said, man, the problem is I don't have a whole hour that I can set aside. So I get started and I go here to pull that. And then there's a delay because they need me to format that list. And I'm going over here to do that. I'm going over here to do that. And then before you know it, 2 weeks have passed and you're like, I haven't even got this done yet, because there's so many like little moving levers and pieces when it comes to marketing. There's so many things to think about. And for those of you who have pulled your own lists, you know that even the simple task of pulling your own list, you're looking at this thing and you're going, how many filters could there possibly be? And what does that template need to look like? I mean, there's a lot that has to be figured out.
And there's a lot of people who have just never done it because of that. They just say, I don't understand all that, so I'm not going to do it.
You look at it, you get overwhelmed, you're like, forget it. Yeah, forget it. You know, I've done it 1,000 times. I've done the same thing 1,000 times. So what we did is we took everything that we knew that were kind of like triggers for people not getting things done. We made the marketing hub so that you can come to one place, one convenient place. In some instances, the pricing on there is going to be even better than what you can get if you just went out and tried to find your own company that did it. But, you know, we're bringing our relationships to the table is what we're doing. So we're bringing mail houses who are used to dealing with real estate investors and creating lists and with templates that we already know how to create the initial template. And we teach you how to, you know, do the filters and add the filters. And then we, you know, give you some triggers that will remind you that it's time to drip again. There's any number of things that we're trying to do, but essentially what we're doing is we're trying to take the value of us being under the hoods of some of the biggest investors in the nation for the past several years, identifying what are the common pain points, and in one place saying, guys, we can't do everything, but we're going to try to make it as easy as possible for this to be not as much of a brain suck as it has been for you in the past. We want to give you one place where you can get just about every high specialty lead that you can imagine, one place where you can send the postcards. If you want hand addressed letters, you can do that. If you want to skip trace, you can do that. And there are tools that we are constantly trying to download into you that makes it really simple and easy for you to understand it and try to explain it. And then also give you ongoing access to data so that we can say, hey, here's the hot lead right now. If we look at the data of investors across all of the nation, this is the hot lead right now. This is the one that's responding best. If you have to niche your list down, mail this list. This is the list that's responding best. Does that make sense?
To me, it does. and I want to throw out there, here's one of the things that was really exciting, because when Christina and I first talked about this, she said, you know, Steve, I think I can do this. And, you know, oftentimes when people get something of this nature, where all of a sudden there's a service that's put into place and it gets easier, there's usually a premium that you have to pay. And what Christina was able to determine was that if she brings everything into underneath one umbrella and she lets you get the benefit of her relationships, that her volume discounts, you can likely get this for the same price as you could with going off everywhere else to put all these things together yourself. And you might even get a better price, because I want you to just think of it in these terms for a moment. If you were to call up somebody and hire them to do 100 letters for you, your price is going to be pretty high, but Christina is sending out hundreds of thousands, if not close to a million letters a month, and she gets an extreme volume discount that all of you will get to benefit from. And so not only is she putting it all in one place to make the service and the ease of it there, but the cost isn't going to be any more and potentially less going to her marketing hub than you trying to put it all together yourself. And so that was one of the things that was really exciting to me was, you know, not only is it going to be better service, we usually pay more for better service, but you will get the better service and without having to pay for it is the thing that sort of really excites me. So Christina, can you tell them then, if somebody goes now to the website, they go to, what is the website first of all?
The website is PI Marketing Hub, PI for Postal Impact, PImarketinghub.com. Okay, if you go to Postal Impact, that's our main website, you can also get to the PI Marketing Hub from there. So if you forget PI Marketing Hub, go to Postal Impact. There's a button up at the top that will take you to that portal, to that, you know, that platform that we've created for you. All right. So from that, and I don't, I don't know if we want to get into this, but I will tell you this. Right now, as a company, like our goal through this period of time, we made a decision as a company, our goal is to build our community and to build our tribe. And what we're trying to do is to get the people that we love through this period of time as safely as we possibly can, because I don't think anybody disagrees that the biggest challenge all of us are facing right now is how do we make it through this period of time? I don't think anyone disagrees that there's massive opportunity over here on the other side of this, but how do we get through here? And as a company, what we did for this marketing hub for this period of time, at the very least through May 31st, and man, are people loving this and taking advantage of it. What we are doing is one of two things, either slashing everything that we do to at cost. So letters normally cost $1.99. They're at $1.64. That's our cost to get somebody handwriting a letter for you, first class stamp, the kind of envelopes that we use. For the Postcard and the other services, our margins are small enough. I mean, we wanted to be super competitive with our pricing. Our margins are small enough. So we said, what is the value that we can add to people right now that just helps us, you know, build our community, build our tribe, helps people to trust us, and gives us a voice into your businesses? Because to me right now, to be honest with you guys, the voice that I have in your business is really what I'm most passionate about, just because most of us operate in a bubble, right? It's so, so, so powerful. I have said this over and over. I think I've been nervous about masterminds and coaching groups like Life and Air. I was nervous coming into this that it was going to be an easy cut for people, right? Like, oh, if I'm going to cut something, if I'm going to cut some expense, I'm going to cut the mastermind, or I'm going to cut the, I'm telling you right now, there's no better amount of money, in my opinion, than you can spend than on a coaching or a mastermind group right now in this moment. And the biggest reason for that is right now operating in any kind of bubble, in my opinion, is dangerous, absolutely dangerous. You need the global economy of shared data. There's a lot of things, even think about the PPP loans and the EIDL loans that we've all been through. If any one of us had to figure all of that stuff out ourselves, instead of being able to be plugged into a community where people are like, oh, watch this webinar, go to this, here's how you navigate this. Imagine if we had to do, I'm telling you right now, I would not have the PPP loan. Because I would have done exactly what people do with marketing, is I'd have started looking at it, I'd have started reading it, and I'd have been like, I can't do this, forget it, forget about it. So I'm very, very big right now on, we all need to band together, we all need to get through this together. So that marketing hub, everything is either at cost, or what we are also doing, because we know that people can get really intimidated by setting up your filters when you're pulling lists, or setting up a mail relationship with the company. What does that look like? What am I supposed to say? How do I do this? I am literally giving you my marketing team. We have a significant amount of people that work for us and with us that make mail happen for all of the clients that we have. We have literally segmented off a piece of everybody's time to work with you directly. This is not something that we normally do, okay? Normally you would go to that marketing hub and you would navigate it. We tried to make it easy for you to navigate. We are literally allowing you to come to us, and you could do that if you want. If you're experienced, you know what to do, click, 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 that's fine. But if that process intimidates you at all, we are letting you work with our people. These are the people that work with some of the biggest investors in the nation. And we're sitting down and saying, okay, what are you filtering for? What do you want to pull? What is your, you know, like, what do you want this to look like? We're setting up templates for you. We're basically holding your hand through that setup process. So now you're completely set up and you've got a little bit of a machine and momentum going. And it allows you to ask some questions with a live human being. You know, what lists are working best, whatever questions that you want to ask, my team is available for you on that marketing hub in this moment.
And so not only you're basically cutting everything down to cost, but you're going to give everybody that service for free as far as the filtering is concerned. And that I know that you're doing that through the end of May.
Yeah, through the end of May.
So everybody who wants to jump on, now during COVID. So I want to ask you, you have all the resources available and you're making it easy for people to do marketing. Should people be marketing now? Are there some who should be, some who shouldn't be? What's the right answer that, for that as we speak?
Let me do something really quick, if you guys don't mind. If those of you that are at your computers, would you mind putting in the group chat what's the market that you're in? Are you in real estate? What kind of business are you in? Just so that I know who we're talking to and can try to speak specifically to. So we got real estate.
And on that note, Christina, I'm going to share with you now that there was something that had come up earlier. I had somebody who called me up, and they're not here with us today, but they wanted to know, can she help our industry? And I said, yes. I said, her expertise is really in the real estate business, but what she's making available to everybody is this hub where you can go pull any list you want to pull. And you can use any of those vendors to send out and do the marketing that you want them to do. And so maybe you can touch upon that. So we have dental, we have online retail, we have real estate.
Wonderful. Okay. So the first thing that I would say is we've had a massive shift in real estate, right? So let me address that first, and then we'll get to some of these other verticals. But in real estate, just even a month ago, okay, if any of you had showed up to any of the Life and Air events and you had said, guys, I'm not getting any deals because I got to be focused on getting my back end all squared away. I got to get my attorney. I got to find my buyers. I got to get my buyers list together before I, go out there and start making offers on properties. And what any one of us with experience would have said to you is, are you kidding me? You need to take action. You need to go out there and market for deals. If you have a good deal, you'll find a buyer. All that other stuff will work out. Okay, we're living in a little bit of a different time where my personal opinion, based on what I am seeing and based on the pain points that I'm seeing with clients, is you kind of have to do exactly the opposite right now. Okay, you need to make sure that you have your disposition side locked up. So if you're a provider in another industry, if somebody were to call you today, can you close that? Can you close that client? Can you service that client, right? If you're in the real estate industry, if you were to buy a house, if you talk to somebody and they say, absolutely, you come to an agreement on price, what's your exit strategy on that? Do you have your lender lined up? Do you have your buyer lined up? Okay. By the way, just a quick side note, that is another thing that we're doing on that marketing hub for free right now, is we understand that that's a painful place. So if you're struggling to find a lender, if you are struggling to exit a deal, we're allowing you to enter your deal into the dispositions page. We have a special page for dispositions, and we're using our network to connect people together, buyers and sellers together. Okay, so that's just a side note. The bottom line is the first thing that you need to make sure if you're going to be spending money on marketing is that you have a way to exit the deal, right? Okay, so that applies to everybody, right? After that, I say it needs to fall into 3 buckets. The first thing being, I personally think you need to secure your own financial position, your personal financial position right now. We've got another couple of months. Ideally, I think you should be able to not make money for the next 2 to 3 months and be able to survive. Okay, so I think that you've got to look at, if you're literally like, I am not sure how I'm going to pay my bills next month. Number one, please know this: you are not alone. It's not. I mean, it is what it is, and you are not the only person out there that's feeling that. In fact, I would say we're probably pushing the majority of real estate out there did not realize that they literally could not last a couple of months if they made no money at all. All right. So the first thing that I think is really important is just that you focus on that there are ways you can do that. I tell people right now, the most valuable lead in your business to begin with is every single lead that you didn't close in the last 6 months to a year. So the first thing you should be doing, and it's not going to cost you a dime to do it. The first thing that you should be doing is going back to your old leads and shaking that tree and trying to revive anything that you might be able to revive. And it's the perfect time to do it, because those people who weren't motivated even 1 month ago, their circumstances have massively changed, and people's level of motivation is completely different today than it even was 2 weeks ago and 3 weeks ago. And I think that every single week that passes, you're going to find that people are getting more and more motivated. Most people haven't even really fully experienced the pain of what has happened yet. I mean, let's be honest. It's coming. It's coming. How do you beat Tylenol? If you've got a headache, how do you beat Tylenol? So the second thing that I would do if you don't have a lot of income is I would reach out to your network. Because if you're experiencing that pain, other people are experiencing that pain. And what I'm seeing a lot of investors doing is working together. You might not make as much money, right? But if you're not going to make anything because you can't exit the deal, start contacting other people in your network. Start contacting other people in your area and find out if they need your help, and find out if there's anything that you can do to help. Even within this community alone, we have access to so many more people and resources than the average person does, just in Life and Air alone, much less in the network that you've built yourself. Okay, so that's the first couple of things. And I would, I'm a very big advocate in this moment anyway of being incredibly frugal, being financially frugal, because even if you don't need the money to survive today, any dollar that you save today is a dollar that 10, 20, 30x when that opportunity presents itself. So I think it's more like a mindset thing, right? When you're trying to get out of debt, it's not that canceling your cable is going to make a massive difference to your debt, but it will in the long run, because you're getting into a mindset. You're getting into a lean mindset. I'm a big advocate right now of people being very lean. All right. If you are in the second bucket, I kind of put people into buckets. The second bucket for me from a marketing standpoint is I'm good for, I'm okay. I'm going to be all right. I don't have a ton of money. I don't have all the money in the world, but I'm not worried about like how I'm going to pay my bills next month. In any event, even if you have a massive amount of money, I think this is the time again to be as lean as you can get. Be very selective about the lists that you're marketing to. I do have some clients who are out there going, mail as many mailers as you can, but more often than not, people are wanting to get really targeted. So go back to the lists that you've been marketing to in the past that have been very successful for you and focus on those. Also focused on, we have a lead right now. This will give you an idea of some of the things that you guys can target. We have a lead right now called the high-risk landlord lead. Absentee is the #1 performing lead right now. That makes sense, right? Absentee owners, because these are investors. They're investors who are trying to unload property to secure their cash position. So anybody who knows that if you just pull an absentee owner list, you're going to get 20,000 names in your county. All right. So how do you niche that down even further? What we did is we layered financial distress on top of it. We targeted occupations that were hard, that we know are going to be hard hit by this pandemic. We went back where we could and pulled eviction records, because think about people who owned homes and were either mid-eviction process and it got stayed, or they just recently evicted and now they have a vacant property. Just sit down, give yourself a half an hour to sit down and think about, if you're in dentistry, if you're in, online retail, think about the people that would, what are the circumstances of the people that would be most responsive to what you're doing? If you don't already have a go-to list to go to, and target those people. All right. Let me give you some encouraging statistics about marketing. First of all, the reason why I'm a very big advocate if you can afford to market in this moment is because you are speaking to a captive audience. You're speaking to an audience where you're going to have their attention right now more than you will probably ever have in the rest of history. Okay, so not only do you have a captive audience, from a direct mail standpoint, the government has done everything in their power to make sure that people aren't afraid of mail. Okay, and across the industries, mail marketing is down 60 to 70%. So not only do you have a captive audience, You have way less competition. It's even worse, by the way, for real estate investors, because a lot of real estate investors stopped direct mail and went to like outbound calling or texting or what have you, right? So you have not only an audience who's sitting at home, and you know, one of the only way, you want to know when I leave my house? I leave my house once per day. I leave my house once per day to get my mail. And I'm not even, I'm just trying to get out of the house, you know, and I think that I'm like most people. I'm going to walk up the road and just pretend like I got some air and sunshine so that I can say I got my mail. And then while I'm walking back to my house, guess what I'm doing? I'm flipping through that mail. Okay. So some encouraging statistics, because we just did, like 3 days ago, we just did this study and it was so amazing. The day after, 2 weeks after the NBA made their announcement, does everybody agree that the NBA made that announcement and all of a sudden it got real? It got real for everybody. Was like, oh, this is serious. Like, we didn't take it seriously before, people dying, but if the NBA cancels the season, you're like, oh, this is a serious thing. So, and the NBA made the announcement, and there are so many massive things that happen once that announcement happens. I wish I were the NBA and people paid that much attention to what I did. But they made their announcement, and for 2 weeks after that, direct mail absolutely plummeted. People just stopped. They were like, nope, don't know what's going to happen. People stopped. From March 23rd, okay, almost, and for those of you that don't know, across the board, Postcard response rates for the past 2 years for We Buy Homes real estate type of marketing, 0.5% for almost 2 straight years is about the average response rate all the way. If you take the nation, it's higher in the, you know, in the tertiary markets and lower in, you know, the really competitive markets, granted. But if you take a blend, it's 0.5%. Since March 23rd, Postcards shot back up to 40% response rates, okay? So now we're at almost a 0.6% response rate and climbing and climbing. And I know that doesn't sound like a massive shift, but guys, when you take 2 years worth of data and it's 0.5%, give or take one deviation, and then all of a sudden it jumps by almost 22%, 23%. That's a really big shift in response rate. And what should be encouraging to you is that the net lead rate is corresponding. So it's not just people calling, it's people calling and saying, absolutely. So think about this. There are a ton of people out there, guys, who need you in the real estate space. The only option they have to survive this is to tap into the equity that they have in their home. Otherwise, they have no other chance of survival, right? So these are the people that need you right now, okay? One more thing for letters. Letters have the same drop-off rate. Our letters have always gotten a 1.2 to 1.8% response rate, depending on the lead type that we were mailing, but that's always been the range. Dropped for those 2 weeks. Ever since March 23rd, response rates on letters, handwritten letters, hand addressed letters, have skyrocketed to over 250%, by over 250%, the response rates, and climbing. So our letters are now averaging a 4 to 5% response rate, at least for our clients. Again, we normally just send letters to our targeted lists. Okay, it's not just a general list. Yeah, you don't want to spend the money sending a letter to somebody who may or, you know, who doesn't have a good chance of being a client. All right, and then obviously if you have all the money in the world, you know, those clients, and I have those kinds of clients, if this is any indicator to you guys, those guys are doubling down. They're adding territories because they understand that if they start mailing now, when that massive opportunity presents itself 2 to 3 months from now, they're ready and positioned to take, you know, to take full advantage of the opportunities that are coming when this all starts to really shake out 2 to 3 months from now. Oops, sorry, turn my.
All right, so the bottom line is now is actually a good time to market it, depending upon whether or not, you know, where you stand financially is what you should do. So if you've got somebody who let's say they don't have that much money, but they do have some.
Yep.
And they want to invest a little bit into it. And they're going to go over to the PI Marketing Hub. What would be their first steps, and what would you tell them? Here is the leads that you should go. Here is the list that you should pull, and this is the kind of mailing that you should do. What would you tell somebody to do? Let's say they want to spend $500 a month. You brought up the number 500 earlier. If somebody wants to spend 500 a month, what would you tell them to do?
So the first thing that I would do is I would look at what you already have rather than to buy additional leads. If you have leads that you think are worthwhile to send, you know what a lot of people are doing right now is sending letters to their follow-up leads, people that they've already made contact with. So take all those old, cold, but not dead leads in your system and send out a letter that says, hey, you know, I know that we've spoken in the past. I just wanted to reach out and let you know that I'm still here. I'm here to help you. For some reason, your circumstances have changed and you're looking to buy a home. I'm here. I'm able to buy. Okay.
Can they upload their list or their follow-ups to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You do not have to come there. You can do like you could just come and skip trace, or you could just come and send a postcard or send a letter. You do not have to do everything from my platform. So we wanted to give you the opportunity to pull leads if that's what you needed to do, but you don't have to do that. So you can bring your own list. If you had a really limited budget, that's what I would do. I would go back and I would come up with a list of people that you think would be really high value. And we're seeing that, guys. We're seeing people send a couple hundred letters out and getting a deal. And you can't beat that. Like you can't beat that kind of return. And obviously I'm not guaranteeing that, but what we are seeing is that if somehow you can identify within your systems what the, what a really high value, small segmented list is, get it out there, get it out there. What I would not suggest, by the way, because you actually have the ability from our hub to put your own creative in there, like you can make your own creative and just upload it, and my mail provider will use that. Definitively, I was just in I'm in a really big mastermind with bigger players, and a bunch of them went to COVID themed letters or COVID themed postcards. And I shouldn't say letters, I should say postcards. They have across the board tanked. Things that really, the only thing that we allowed our clients to do is to put a blurb on their postcard that said that they have the ability to do it virtually. We have the ability, we have the ability to go through this process virtually. That's the only thing we allowed our clients to blurb. For those that made COVID themed, where, I've seen people that there's a mask and then there's a line and it's yellow and it's all of that stuff. Every single person, I was just on a call last Friday that attempted that, said that is tanked. So I would suggest from a postcards standpoint, I would suggest staying away from that. I wouldn't have known that. It's just pattern recognition. It's just kind of like, well, I mean, you can't argue with hundreds of thousands of these being sent out and everybody's saying that it tanked.
So I'm gonna take Marlene, who is sitting here also, who's in the dental business, and we've talked a lot about real estate. But if she wants to go out and do some sort of marketing, she can go in and identify the right lists for herself there, pull them together, and use all those same resources as well.
Yeah, I mean, can I talk to Marlene?
Sure.
Awesome. So tell me, I know it's dental, and we actually have clients who are in the dental industry, but specifically what would you be marketing?
Right, it's interesting. Peter and us, we've been talking about that over the last 2 weeks, and we're looking to pivot. And two of the key things we have identified is that one, possibility of promoting an in-house discount plan. Because we foresee that a lot of people will be losing their jobs and therefore losing their dental insurance.
Yes.
So we have a lot of people in-house already that have insurances. So like you said, look at your lead people that you already have in place. So that's one of the things. And the other thing, that's something I'm dreaming of. Pick something that I'm good at, that I enjoy doing. according to my life and vision, and see if I can promote that.
So is it your dental practice?
Yes.
Okay, so you have a dental practice and you're questioning. Okay, so I'm assuming you're proactively going, and I'm just asking questions, so I don't want you to think that I know. I'm assuming what you are is trying to proactively say, who's going to be our fallout from this, because they're tight on cash, you know, what have you, and how do we proactively reach out to them to say, hey, your dental health is absolutely critical, probably more critical now, especially from a preventative standpoint. If you're nervous, you need that preventative stuff more than ever, because you know you don't want to get yourself into a situation. We understand that you could be in a difficult position, so it's important to us. We want to meet you where you are. We've got options. You know, we don't just, please don't stop getting your cleaning. We have options. We will work with you. Is that kind of
Correct.
that? Yeah, I mean, I think that especially right now, again, what I love about direct mail is I do think we're living in this moment where we have an opportunity to have a voice that is very likely going to get heard right now. If you will make the commitment to spend some money on direct mail, that's the voice that's going to get heard. That's my opinion. And I've got data that's showing that that is the case. It doesn't mean that every single person is going to respond, right? I love letters right now just because of what I see the data represents, and I think that people love getting a letter right now. I'm gonna share screen real quick. The letters that we use are like, again, everything that we do is rooted in data. I said that, right? So these letters, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
So these letters, and if you guys want to, please copy this. I'm not suggesting that we have to do this for you. But what I am telling you is that if you're going to send letters and you want to do it yourself, look at what we're doing, because this comes over years and years. We know what they need to look like. These envelopes here, if you can see my cursor, they're called craft. They're the ones that look like paper bags and they have the fiber in them. Those almost always consistently get the highest rate of response. But then also what we do, if you look here, is during certain times of the year, we'll do different things. So this orange in the upper right hand corner, that's our October, our Halloween. That is always a really great response for us. I'm going to see if I can get, yep. So those are the kinds of letters. Also, in that former, look at the back of this. I'm going to give you guys a tip if you're going to send letters. It's called a Euro flap. See this flap, this pointed flap here? It's called a Euro flap. What gets you the highest response rate is that flap sealed with a label instead of wet sealed, because it makes it easy for people to slide their finger up and pop that envelope open. Okay, it's weird little things like that that make all of the difference in the world. But that's what we found. You know, if people have any question about whether or not it might be a marketing piece, you want to minimize the barrier of entry for them. So that's what we have found works best. Okay, if you have the budget for that, certainly, just even in any environment, frankly, that's going to get you the highest response rate. Letters almost always do better than postcards, but especially in an environment where you're in dental or even in houses, guys, like, people are craving humanity right now. Like, I think the best thing that any of us have to offer, and the way that we can win against some of the bigger companies out there who are doing everything in their power to eliminate humanity, because humanity is expensive. That's what sets us apart. That's what makes us who we are. That's what makes people want to deal with us. So I think people love getting that kind of correspondence, where clearly you've put some time and effort into it, and you're willing to talk to them on the phone, and you're willing to go to their homes in the real estate space, and you're willing to get belly to belly with them and meet. I mean, I know we're talking about virtual, but I think the people who are willing to get back down to connecting with people on a human level are the ones that are going to win.
So Christina, obviously direct mail is your specialty. if people go into the marketing hub, is there anything other than direct mail available at this time, or is it 100% direct mail right now?
Yeah, most of what we offer is direct mail. We are bringing a couple of other vendors to the table, just so that people have options of people that we know who have worked with them. So Lead Sherpa, we're working with Lead Sherpa to get them on. Lead Sherpa is a texting platform, guys. I think sometimes it's like, and then we've got a PPC provider that are coming. So it's a little bit of a work in progress. But those are just going to be relationships that we're just going to hand you guys in case those are avenues that you want to pursue. And they're people they're vendors that we know and our clients have worked with. So we have some level of trust about the kind of service they can provide.
So guys, I'm just going to speak from my own experience because Christina's done marketing for me. And Christina, I think that my response rate to letters is far greater than the numbers that you've been mentioning.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yours would be because you in Wisconsin.
And I
Florida or Texas.
And I probably don't have the competition, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say we get over a 10% response rate to the letters here. And it's just been a pretty awesome blessing, the way some of those deals come in, because you've done it all. I mean, I remember I just make one payment and then that's it. And then I go pick up checks right after I buy houses.
Yeah.
So it's something that I love and I advocate. And as I'm considering making a move right now, not too many people are aware of it, but I may be moving from Wisconsin. I'm going to be looking to get things up and running again in a new market. And sort of having to learn and figure out what it is I'm going to do. But I might still lean a little more toward the done for you. I'm a little bit, if it's too hard for me, I don't like to do it. So I just.
Guys, we're here for you on that. Well, that's not going away. That service isn't going away. It's very robust. It's very deep. We're looking at data. It's not just a matter of us taking care of it for you. We're looking at your data, and it's more of a consulting kind of thing where we're going, hey, you got to get your appointment booking rate up and you got to do this and you got to do that. So all of that is still there. I don't, and I have people in Life and Air who are clients. So I'd love to work with you guys on that level if that's what you want to do. But that marketing hub right now is, I'm really, I guess what I'm really doing, guys, honestly, is I'm even asking you to use it as a resource. There's a lot of things like trackers. There's a probate ebook on there. There's scripts on there. And we're actually finishing up some scripts with John Martinez, who's one of the best educators out there about acquisition. And we're literally working with them to develop scripts that we're going to give away. So if nothing else, guys, please go take advantage of those resources while they're being given away. And help us have these kinds of conversations, because these are super helpful. I mean, these are the kinds of conversations that we want to constantly have. I love Life and Air, and I love that the conversations that we get to have here, but I also love things that are super focused on, on marketing and growing your business and things like that. So we want to be here to help facilitate that as well.
So guys, one thing that I want everybody to know, first of all, Christina is very much like this, and this is one of the things that we're not doing. There's nothing that Life and Air gets from this other than to take something that I think is awesome and to pass it along to all of you so that you have it available as a resource. But Christina has been the same way for years. She doesn't do anything like that. If she goes out and talks about Life and Air, she doesn't ask for anything for that. So I want everybody to just know that. And through the end of May, she's basically doing it all at cost. And one of the things that we have talked about, and I'm speaking now as her coach, that we have talked about is she went through this whole process of, okay, I want to create this, I want to do this, and then I'm going to create some resources and maybe I can generate some revenue from those resources. I'll sell this, I'll create an ebook and I'll sell this I'll make it cheap. And then she finally just said, you know what? I made the decision. I'm just going to give it all away. And I just want everything that we put on there, we're just going to sit here and we're going to make it free because I want my community to be successful. I want them to be successful so they keep coming back to buy their leads and that they use us as their resource for marketing. And so I can speak just from my conversations with her that is the heart behind it. She desires for everyone to be successful. She's trying to put everything into one place to make it as easy as she can. She is providing education, taking the knowledge that she's developing with all the clients that she's working with and sharing that with everyone, and actually giving that to everyone so that you get the benefit of what others are doing. You're getting the knowledge from what others are doing. So at the end of the day, I got really excited when we had first sat down and we had talked about this whole idea of the marketing hub. And as she was sharing with me her vision of what she wanted to do, I kept getting more and more excited, because I was like, one of the big reasons that I've never been the big marketing guy is because I hate going to all these different places, and I hate how complicated it is, and I hate how difficult it can be. And she said, I know, I get it, and I'm going to put it all under one roof. I'm going to bring it all into one place for everybody. And that is what the thing that really has me excited about it, because I think that now for many of you who marketing was something you didn't do because of the hurdles of there are to marketing. And you know what? There's hurdles to everything, but a lot of times many of us don't effectively do the marketing that we should be doing because of the challenges that come along with it. And Christina's goal was to make those challenges go away. So anybody have any questions for Christina? I think almost everyone is unmuted. If you just muted, if you just unmute yourself, you should be able to ask a question if you need any clarification. Go ahead, Marlene.
Right. So I'm on the PI marketinghub.com. Can you kind of walk me a little bit through it? I mean, whether it's for real estate or hub, I'd like to know how I can use it.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's, if you want, in fact, let me share screen and I'll just really fast walk everybody through here, because I know I don't want to take up everybody's time much past this, but so these are the, up here at the top of the page, these are the resources that we've sold in the past that we're giving away right now. So there's the probate book, there's the KPI tracker, that is just a very, very simple tracker that we built for people who don't want to make the big investment in a big, robust CRM. Here's some follow-up scripts. There are more scripts that are coming, guys. From here, you can mail letters to anybody. And again, we have clients that mail letters in multiple verticals. In fact, I have a call later on today with somebody who owns a painting company, that wants to market with letters. Okay, so this is like we can put whatever you want into the body of that letter. That is just, and then I have an army of people, like I said, who can like literally fulfill whatever volume you need and handwrite those letters and get them sent out. Okay, down here for lead generation, you can either pull your own lead list. Okay, so you can, and this is where I'm saying, if you go in here and you do your do-it-yourself lists, what I would do is I would, there's a video here. This was how it was originally set up, okay? So we basically taught you how to pull your own list, all right? But you can see here it says, for a limited time, Postal Impact is offering to pull your list for you free of charge. Just click there if you don't want to do it yourself, and somebody will reach out to you and help walk you through how to do that. Okay, and actually do it for you. So then we have the Hybris landlord list. That's the specialty lead that we created just for this moment that you could order. And then here are the specialty lists that you can also order from our hub. Like if you want tax delinquent leads, mortgage delinquent, divorce, utility shutoff, bankruptcy, lease pendants, you can order those from probate. You can get probate here. I have the ability to put boots on the ground anywhere in the nation. And 80% of the time, we're literally having people walk into courthouses to gather probate leads for you. But again, there's also that probate ebook, guys, that I'm literally showing you how to do it yourself. All right, so you can also send direct mail from here. Once again, you can either send postcards. Here's your pricing down here and the quantity minimums, and then you can send those premium letters. Again, reach out to us if you want us to help set that up for you, or you can just do it from the hub. And then you can also skip trace leads now as well, right from this platform. We are actually helping people. One of the difficult things about skip tracing is you've got to get it into the format. You've got to get all the leads into a certain format. Same thing with mail. If for any of you who've done your own mail or done your own skip tracing, it's kind of a pain because you have to put your leads into the format that these guys require. And we're literally helping you guys do that. We literally have VAs right now that are just doing busy work for you if you're using the hub. All right. So those are the main components right now of the hub. And it'll kind of walk you through. And then again, down at the bottom, there's the resources. There's also an education section. If you go to the right, there's a lot of video and stuff like that of things that I've filmed or talks that I've done in the past. So if you guys are looking just for some like educational type of videos, you can go there and watch those as well.
And so, Christina, every person who you have on there as a vendor is somebody who you personally do business with. These aren't just people who pulled from.
Nope.
So you have experience with every single one of them.
That's right. Yeah.
And so that was one of the big things, was just pulling it all together and pulling everyone who she does business with and making them available to all of you. All right. Any other questions?
All right, guys. We hope.
I have a quick question.
Oh, go ahead.
Right. So your list, is it possible to make a smaller list of it, just like maybe mobile homes or block homes or like different style homes or vacant land?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And what I would suggest, if you're looking for more of a specialized list, go ahead and let my team help you. Because literally, if you go to that hub, that Listability Online hub, so we're doing this in collaboration with Listability Online, there's literally like 3,000 different filters. And it can get really overwhelming. It can get really overwhelming.
And that's where I messed up in doing mails before. And that's why I haven't gone back. So you just described me this whole time.
And I mean, we know that it needs to be like zip +4. And I mean, there's all these little nuances that most people just don't think about until you get there. And then when you look at all those filters, you're like, well, heck if I know. I don't know. So we're literally helping you create, like, that video will tell you what to do, but right now what we're doing is we're literally creating a template for you, Adrian, and then you get to save that template. So now all you have to do is go in and refresh when you're ready.
About how long does it take? Let's say we figure out the list I want. Does it take a few days, a few weeks to get the actual list? I assume part of it depends on if you have to go to the courthouse or
dynamic. Yeah, it depends. The specialty leads, some of those could take 2 or 3 days, but the listability stuff is usually going to be pretty dynamic. Like once we pull it for you, you've got it.
Awesome. Thank you. Great call. Thank you for giving everything so much away for free too.
Yeah.
I always look
and in all fairness, you guys have given so much to us, and that's genuinely how we felt. I can't tell you how many people have said to us, what's the catch? From a business owner standpoint, yeah, I want to build the tribe. I want to build the community. I hope that represents market share somewhere down the road if we earn your trust, right? Of course I do. But in all fairness, legit, like, and those of you who know me personally know that I'm really passionate about it. This community has given so much to us, and we see it. So we see it as, hey, we're all scared. We're all a little worried. We're all a little nervous. Let's get through it together. Like, I'd rather win with you than win without you, you know?
I have one question before we go. Yeah. You've actually brought up some market search engine criteria that I hadn't thought of, like, you know, occupations maybe that are going to be highly effective and things like that. I actually already put in my request for the DIY lead list. Are they going to help me, the person who calls me, identify things that I wouldn't have thought of? Because you
So here's what we do, and this is one of the reasons why we're almost considering figuring out how to keep doing this, because what you're saying is exactly what we're finding, is that people are like, I didn't even think about targeting. Like, so what we have is we kind of have like, well, eventually we're going to get to this place with Listability Online where we take away most of the options. because the vast majority of the options that you see on that website have nothing, they're not relevant. And all they do is serve to confuse and frustrate, frankly. So what my team will do is they'll make some suggestions like, hey, do you want to put an age filter in there? We have a really high list. How niche down do you want to get this list? Let's look at how long, the length of ownership. Let's look at how long someone has been in a home. Let's look at age. So we will absolutely help to guide and make some suggestions. We can't pull the list for you because it would be a conflict of interest. So we're not pulling like a specialty list for you, but we will absolutely not only help you do some filters, but also tell you, Susan, the way to go and find that is to go back to deals you've done in the past. Go look at the people who've called you in the past and figure out what are the common characteristics of the people who are responding. What are the common characteristics of people who I made money on, and start targeting those. But we will absolutely help you do that.
See, for me, it's a little bit different because I'm pivoting, as you know, because the market was so high before where people weren't as negotiable for owner financing. I want to look for deals for subject to. So what I'd like to do is give your team, this is the outcome I would like to see, and this is the type of the property I'd like to buy, and have them assist me in boiling that down to the best list to start with, and different zip codes that I prefer for working class neighborhoods that I like, because I know I can start with that most of the time, and then, you know, as that, you know, becomes productive, then add to that as I see the result.
We can absolutely do that.
Okay, great.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I want to ask about minimum investment. Like, is there a minimum investment or?
Not from that marketing hub, no. So there might be a minimum in the sense of there might be like some minimums on how many postcards you can send. You can send one, but I will tell you that there's going to be a minimum charge. I don't even know what it is, but I mean, it's not an outrageous amount. I mean, I don't know how many minimum postcards you have to send. For the letters, I think it might be 100. For the postcards, I think it might be 500, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
I mean to get good KPIs. That's.
Oh, for the completely done for you model, our minimum spend on that is $10,000 a month. Yeah, so most of our clients spend a significant amount more than that, but what we can do is at $10,000 a month, you know, we can send out mail in enough volume, and then we study that for you. So as people call you back, we're literally stalking those people and looking at the data and building you an avatar, a motivated seller avatar, and then also completely handling that campaign for you altogether.
And the CRM, which CRM?
We will work with any CRM, anything from a custom built Podio to Investor Fuse. So, you know, we actually don't use your CRM, we tie into your CRM. So if you don't know which CRM to use, like if you're coming and you're saying, I don't have one yet, what we'll do is you would talk to our tech team and say, hey, these are my goals, this is how big I want to get, and then we would make a suggestion about a CRM that would be ideal for you to use. But if you have your own, we'll just work with whatever you have.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, Christina, thank you so much. I am excited to see how this is going to go, because I just know that you're taking one of the big question marks out of, you know, marketing. It's still, we don't know how it's going to work. You can't guarantee the success, but you're making it to you're created something where people can actually do it now. Yeah. And as we know, with my years of investing experience today, that the number one reason why so many people don't ever do well in this business or don't ever get up and running is because they don't market. And it is absolutely critical. And you've just taken it and you're making it simpler and easier for people to do that. So I love it. I'm excited to see how well it works for everyone. And I want to throw one more thing out there. And as things were coming up, you know, Christina's giving away a lot of things, and she's doing things that cost right now. You know, at the end of the day, one of the things that you really want is to take this seriously and be willing to make an investment into it. It's not just, hey, you know, getting things that for as cheap or as free as we can. We all want to be conscious of that. But I think at the end of the day, what I want everyone to stay focused on is what she is doing is providing awesome and incredible value. When the prices do go back up, there's a small margin. I don't know how many of you caught that, but for every letter, she's charging $1.99 for a premium letter. She's doing it at cost. Her cost is $1.64. So for every letter that they sit down and they actually make and they put out there, she only makes 35 cents per letter that she's sending out. And I don't know if that changes with volume or anything like that, but the reality of the situation is, I want to just encourage all of you, come up with whatever it is that you can do. Come up with your budget. Christina talked about the few buckets, but having that budget in place and being consistent with it, that's the other key. Consistently doing it over and over. And that's where Christina has those premium done for you clients, because they know they can't be consistent on their own. When they start buying houses, they stop marketing. With Christina, they keep marketing so they can keep buying. Yeah. And she's giving you the tools to be able to do that. So that leads me to one more question that I had. And someone was asking the question, if they get their list and they send stuff out, I wanted to know, can I put in a list, say, 500 names, and say, send it every month? Do I have the ability to set it up, or do I have to go in every month to do it? Or can I set up my consistency up front and say, send these 500 letters every month?
Yeah, we have some systems in place, and we're ultimately going to get to that. I'm not sure that the functionality might now be there. Okay. But what we did commit to people, because we've been getting that question a lot, is that until we get the automated functionality there, we're actually going to have people follow up with you. Just to say, hey, do you want to hit the go on this again? Do you want to hit the button on this again? And I know that sounds like a tiny thing, but I mean, you guys know, my house would be full of 50% more products if somebody would have just said, hey, do you want to do that? Because I think that 1,000 times, like, oh, I'm going to do that. And then, time goes, and then you're like, oh, too much time has gone. It doesn't even matter anymore. I'm not even going to do this anymore. So yeah, we're really trying hard. And guys, as you use that, please give us feedback on that, because that is something that has come up several times. Like, people said, is there any way for me to just automate this and set it up as recurring? So give us feedback like that. Also, guys, if you guys have direct mail marketing questions, or even marketing questions in general, because I get a lot of emails, and I am now starting to try to get people over to the app, so that everybody can kind of benefit from the answer. So if you can ask me questions anytime. I'm going to be making a really big concerted effort to be more involved there. Just tag me. Like, if if you have a question, tag me in it so that everybody can see it, and so that we can also get some conversation going in the group about marketing.
And so I'm going to throw one more thing, and as somebody who's coached people throughout the years, I just want to say, like, if there's somebody here and they have a $5,000 budget, and I mean, you got $5,000 right now, don't go and spend that all at one time and expect in 30 days to have generated something. Take that 5,000 and spread it out over the course of 4 to 6 months.
Yes.
And be consistent over the course of 4 to 6 months with your 5,000, and spend 1,000 a month or 1,200 a month or something, and keep sending to the same people over and over to get that follow-up, versus one big mailing. If you're doing one big mailing all at one time, and then you spent everything you have in 30 days, you could be disappointed. It doesn't mean that won't work, but all the data and statistics would show that you are better off sending out less and doing that over a period of time to get better results, rather than doing it all at one time. So just a little tip for anybody who's considering doing something.
I'm so glad you said that, Steve. And because some other investors and we've had these conversations about, okay, at this point, where do I pivot? Where do I go? Do I wait for, 3 to 6 months? And is it too early? So we're having these conversations, because I had another investor, as I'm buying subject to, she's like, why don't you just wholesale that while prices are up to that rehabber and let them rehab it? I said, no, I'm keeping that, right? And so it was like a debate that erupted between some experienced investors as to, do you keep it? Do you, where do you go with it? And so I'm just wondering if you're hearing that as far as the marketing, and as you're talking about it, as we are putting our marketing out there, is how should we, you know, make our marketing, you know, change over the period of time? Should we maybe start slower, or what are your thoughts on that? And how should we, you know, change our marketing as the times change?
It's a great question, and I literally just addressed this on my call on Friday with the Collective Genius group that I'm in, where what we were saying was, and what I'm saying, I'm a marketer, you know, so I make money when people send out massive amounts, and I'm even saying, guys, I'm not saying don't do that if you have a really specific strategy, but what I am saying is don't get out of the game. Like, to me, that's terrifying. Stopping everything altogether and then waiting until you think it's right, and then understanding that it's like with any marketing, the same rules still apply. I mean, we're in a new normal here, but the same rules are going to apply, meaning that there's still going to have to be a build of momentum. So
Sure.
what I'm telling people right now is get tight, get lean. You know, like, and again, I do, unless your strategy is mass volume, that's fine. Get tight, get lean, just don't stop. I don't even really particularly care for, and I think this applies to so many things. I don't think it's good for us to stop entirely. I don't think it's good for employees to stop entirely. I've talked to a couple of business owners from a consulting standpoint, and they're like, you know what? I mean, we're just gonna lay low and we're just letting our guys sit. I don't know. I'm not saying don't take a break, and I'm not saying don't use this time to take advantage of spending more time with your kids and having more time. I'm saying do that. But I think it's a little dangerous sometimes to stop anything entirely, because then having to get back into the rhythm and change, and you know, it's just, I just don't think it's a good idea. So yes, go small, and as you see things working, build that way. Just allow the actual data and numbers to tell you, you know, start with 500 and then say, holy crap, this was amazing. I'm going to 1,000. Then I'm going to 1,500. But let actual numbers instead of emotions dictate your next direction.
Great. Thank you, Chris.
Anybody else? All right, guys.
Hey, I was gonna throw something in here. When we came into the game 14 years ago, direct marketing was considered the number one means for reaching out to potential dental clients, and I think it's been reported to have dropped way off in recent years, and social media has basically taken over. But I noted the stuff you said about the uptick because of everybody slowing down. People are reacting more because there's less going out. So my understanding is your site would has tools that we could use to create dental marketing.
Yes. Now you've got to come up with, you know, what you want your letter to say. Your letter
could we utilize materials that we've already paid and had put together through other pretty pricey marketing companies and just utilize them?
Now, are you talking about the actual like letter itself though, or are you talking about the content of the letter?
Well, we typically use trifold mailers and things. I'll let Marlene.
Yeah, we've used trifold, but honestly, I would prefer to do postcards because I understand postcards are doing better now in that aspect. Do you have any recommendation in terms of? I know the letter, from what you said, it's classic. It's the way to go, the premium. How about postcards? If you want to do postcards, do you have recommendation on the site as to what?
So if you've got the creative already done, just have my team help you, but you can actually just take that postcard, upload it, and mail that postcard. 100%.
Sounds like a plan. All right, thank you. Thanks for the input.
Awesome. All right. Anything else? Well, again, Christina, thank you so much. Again, I'm looking forward to it. And thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a great day.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.